Have you ever felt disrespected by your own family? Maybe you've been overlooked, treated unfairly, or even ignored, despite everything you've done for them. Why does this happen? Is it something in the way we live, or could it be rooted in deeper family dynamics? If you've ever found yourself struggling with these feelings, then this video is exactly what you need to watch. Why should you keep watching? In the next few minutes, we'll dive deep into the reasons why family members may not show respect, even when you deserve it the most. We'll uncover the powerful role parental favoritism can play in shaping sibling relationships, and why feeling unappreciated in your own family can hurt you emotionally. But it's not just about understanding why this happens. It's about knowing how to fix it. We'll also explore the often overlooked issue of relying on your family for support. Why do some families seem to turn their backs when you need them most? And, more importantly, how can you change this narrative? We're going to talk about how you can regain respect, improve family dynamics, and build a more harmonious, loving environment at home. If you're ready to improve the way you're treated in your family, if you want to understand the hidden reasons behind the lack of respect, and if you're looking for practical steps to take control of your relationships, stick around. You won't want to miss the solutions we'll share at the end. Let's get started and take that first step towards a more fulfilling, respectful family life. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. 1. Don't forgive others for them. There's an old saying that resonates deeply with me. If you haven't experienced the pain of others, don't advise them to forgive. These words carry such profound wisdom. The truth is, forgiveness isn't something that can be handed out casually or forced upon someone. It's a deeply personal journey that is often tangled in layers of emotions, scars, and struggles. How can we truly understand the weight of someone else's pain if we haven't walked in their shoes, felt their heartbreak, or experienced their deepest wounds? It's easy to say, let it go, or forgive and forget, but when you haven't lived through the hurt yourself, those words can feel like cold, distant echoes that miss the mark entirely. When we see our siblings embroiled in a conflict, especially one that cuts deeply, it's natural to want to help. We want to make things better, to smooth over the tension, and to fix the hurt. But sometimes, in our eagerness to help, we might unintentionally force them into a decision that's not theirs to make. It's tempting to take the moral high ground and tell them what's right, to urge them to forgive, to let go of the anger. But what we fail to realize is that in doing so, we may be dismissing their pain, minimizing their feelings, and pushing them to swallow the injustice they've endured. And that's not just unfair, it's hurtful. Forgiveness is a personal choice, one that can only be made by the person who's been wronged. No one else can shoulder that burden for them, nor should they. Whether or not to forgive is not a question of right or wrong but of personal healing. It's a decision that comes from the heart, shaped by the individual's own experiences, values, and emotions. And we, as siblings, can't dictate that journey. Our role is not to judge or to force a resolution, but to stand beside them, unwavering and supportive, through the storm. We must offer them our love, our understanding, and our respect, without pressure or expectation. When they are ready, and only when they are ready, we can offer them a warm, comforting smile, a simple gesture, but one that carries with it the strength of our presence and the depth of our care. That smile, given at the right moment, may be all they need to find the courage to walk forward, to take that step into a dealing. And in that moment, we realize the true meaning of siblinghood. It's not in fixing their problems, but in walking beside them while they find their way. It's about being there through the darkest moments, without judgment, and knowing that sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is simply to be there. That is the most touching, most valuable gift we can give in our relationships with those we love. 2. Don't solve family issues for them. There's an old saying that resonates deeply. Even a noble person can't resolve family matters. It's a simple yet profound truth. Family issues, no matter how big or small, are intricately woven with emotions, history, and unspoken bonds that outsiders cannot fully grasp. Even the most well-meaning person, no matter how wise or loving, cannot completely untangle the web of misunderstandings and resentments that might exist between family members. Every family has its own unique set of dynamics, and these dynamics are built on layers of shared experiences, joys, and struggles that outsiders, no matter how close, will never fully understand. What truly makes a family resilient is its ability to forgive. Despite the conflicts, the misunderstandings, and the occasional heartbreak, family members often find it in their hearts to forgive one another. This forgiveness is not always rational, nor is it always easy, but it is born from love, a love that runs deeper than any quarrel or disagreement. It's also rooted in a sense of responsibility, the unspoken promise to stand by one another no matter what. So, despite the messiness of it all, families often find a way to stay together, move forward, and continue caring for each other, no matter the obstacles they face. But here's the thing, as siblings, it is not our place to intervene in these delicate matters. Our instinct might be to help, to fix things, to step in and play the mediator, especially when we see our loved ones in pain. We may feel that by offering our advice or taking action, we are helping to solve their problems. But the truth is, the more we try to fix things, the more we risk misunderstanding the situation. We might not fully comprehend the history, the emotions, or the deep-rooted reasons behind their conflict. Even if our intentions are pure, even if we have the best of hearts, we may make the situation worse. There is a deep, emotional truth in knowing that it's not our problem to fix. It's not a lack of care or concern, it's respect. Sometimes, the most loving thing we can do is to step back and trust that our loved ones are capable of resolving their issues on their own. Sure, the outcome might not always align with what we think is best, but this is their responsibility, not ours. Family members need to find their path to healing and reconciliation, and while we can offer our support, it must be done without imposing ourselves into the center of the storm. In our eagerness to help, we may overlook the fact that, often, the greatest gift we can offer is space and patience. If we insist on stepping in, even with the best intentions, we risk disrupting the delicate balance of their relationship. Even if things appear to improve momentarily, the result may not be as positive as we hope. Our siblings or family members may not appreciate our interference, no matter how well-intentioned it is, because they need to confront and resolve these issues in their own time and way. Ultimately, those who are truly wise know when to hold back. They understand that love doesn't always mean doing everything for someone else. It means knowing when to let them stand on their own 2 feet. Trust is built not just by stepping in and solving problems, but by knowing when to step back. It's in respecting boundaries and giving space that we show our true care. When we allow our siblings and family members to navigate their issues themselves, they feel not just our love, but also our trust in them. And that, in turn, strengthens our relationship, allowing it to grow even more resilient. Family is built not just on helping each other in times of need, but on respecting each other's ability to deal with life's challenges. This is what creates deeper, more meaningful bonds that can withstand the test of time. 3. Don't raise their children for them. In a television program, actress Chu Dan shared a heartwarming story about her daughter, who was not only well-behaved at kindergarten but also demonstrated an admirable sense of responsibility by caring for her younger brother. As a mother, she and her husband felt immense pride in their daughter's maturity and independence. This story, though, did not resonate well with Wang Yanjun, who took a different view. She believed that children, especially young ones, should be loved, pampered, and allowed to enjoy their carefree childhood. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. A child's innate independence shouldn't come at the cost of their emotional well-being. Wang felt that too much responsibility could weigh down a child's spirit, stifling their sense of joy. Both perspectives are equally valid, reflecting the varying approaches parents and families have when raising children. Some parents place great value on cultivating discipline and success in their children from a young age, while others prioritize simply allowing them to grow up healthy, happy, and free from undue pressure. When it comes to raising children, no two families are the same. Parents are motivated by love, and while one family might encourage their child to take on responsibilities early, another might shield their child from such burdens for a little longer. As outsiders, we should respect the way each family chooses to raise their children and refrain from offering unsolicited advice. Every family has its unique rhythm, its hopes, and its dreams for the future. Parents do not need the judgment of others because they are doing everything they can to guide their children toward happiness and success. Ultimately, there is no universal rulebook for parenting, no one-size-fits-all method for raising children. What truly matters is that parents, no matter their approach, see their children happy, healthy, and thriving in their way. Sometimes, what holds relationships together, whether with siblings, relatives, or even friends, is the wisdom of knowing when to step back, when to hold your tongue, and when to just listen. This delicate balance is the essence of emotional intelligence. Recognizing when not to interfere is not a sign of indifference but of respect for the personal choices and boundaries of others. In the end, the greatest gift we can offer to our loved ones, especially our siblings, is not just advice but the gift of understanding and respect. Each family, each parent, and each child is on their journey, and we should honor that journey with sensitivity and care. By doing so, we preserve the warmth of our relationships, ensuring that our love remains genuine and enduring. This is how we can support each other in life, no matter where our paths may lead. 4. Don't fulfill filial duties for them. Each sibling holds their own set of responsibilities, especially when it comes to caring for aging parents, a duty that cannot be taken lightly. It is a profound and sacred task, one that demands the collective effort of the entire family. The golden years of our parents are not just a time for them to relax, but also a moment where we must, as children, ensure they are surrounded by love, respect, and a peaceful environment. This responsibility should not fall on the shoulders of just one person. It must be shared by everyone, with each sibling playing their part in creating the best possible conditions for our parents in their final years. However, life often throws challenges at us. Financial difficulties, personal struggles, and unforeseen circumstances can make it hard for some siblings to contribute in the way they would like. But no matter the difficulty, the duty to care for our parents remains non-negotiable. Even if a sibling is going through a tough time, it is their responsibility to step up, not leave the entire burden to others. If we, out of love or kindness, decide to take on that responsibility for them, out of a desire to help and make their lives easier, it can unintentionally lead to a dangerous pattern. In time, they may begin to see their obligation as something that can be overlooked or dismissed, assuming that someone else will always be there to pick up the slack. This creates an unhealthy dependency that not only hinders their growth and sense of responsibility but also places a tremendous burden on the sibling who continues to carry the weight alone. Such a situation is not just unfair, it is emotionally exhausting, physically draining, and deeply demoralizing. The sibling who ends up doing everything, shouldering the entire responsibility of filial duty, will eventually begin to feel the strain, both emotionally and physically. Their own needs and desires might be pushed aside, and their mental and emotional health may start to deteriorate. Meanwhile, the sibling who has shirked their duties may continue to enjoy the benefits of family life without ever truly contributing, causing resentment and frustration to build. In the end, this dynamic does not only harm the one who is unfairly burdened, but it also damages the family as a whole. It creates imbalances, sows feelings of injustice, and tears at the bonds that should be the foundation of family unity. Every sibling must contribute, and no one should escape their share of responsibility. The welfare of our aging parents is too important, and our duty to them is too sacred, for us to allow this unfairness to continue. 5. Don't plan your life for them. In W. Somerset Maugham's timeless work, The Knife, the central character is a man who returns from war, hailed as a hero, admired for his bravery, and celebrated for his accomplishments. He comes home to a hero's welcome, his siblings eager to shower him with gifts and praise. They, too, have been successful in their own right, established, secure, and confident in their ways. So, they make decisions for him, believing they know what's best. They arrange for him a stable, conventional job, and they find him a beautiful wife, someone they believe will make him happy. They think they're giving him the world, that they are securing his future with the kind of life that many dream of. But as the years pass, this man, who has everything society tells him he should want, abandons it all. He leaves his comfortable job, his respectable wife, and the predictable life that his siblings had planned for him. He moves to Paris, not to indulge in empty pleasures as others believe, but to study, reflect, and savor life on his terms. In the eyes of the world, he's failed. Critics call him reckless, self-indulgent, and progressive in the wrong ways. The world doesn't understand why he'd give up his fame and success for a life of simplicity and personal growth. But the truth is, he wasn't trying to escape anything. He wasn't rejecting success or a comfortable life. He was simply choosing to live a life that aligned with his true desires. A life that was his to choose. A life free from the expectations and plans that others had set for him. The story of this man is a poignant reminder that, while our loved ones may have the best intentions, we must not assume that their dreams and desires will align with our own. Often, those who are successful, whether in their careers, relationships, or lives, assume that others want the same things. That the path they've walked, and the milestones they've reached, are the universal goals everyone should aspire to. But this is far from true. Each individual has their own set of desires, their passions, and their vision for what a fulfilling life looks like. When we try to impose our vision on someone else, we risk not only damaging the relationship but also robbing them of their autonomy and, most importantly, their happiness. It's understandable, of course. As human beings, we want to help those we care about. We want to guide them, protect them, and make their lives better. We think we know what's best for them, especially if we found success or happiness in our own lives. But love, true love, doesn't mean directing someone else's life or deciding what they should do. It means offering support, encouragement, and, most importantly, the freedom to make their own choices. If we care about someone, we must respect their journey, even if it's different from ours. This can be a hard truth to accept, especially when we feel we have the wisdom or experience to help others avoid what we perceive as mistakes. But the reality is, when we try to force our plan onto someone else, we deny them the right to chart their course. Worse still, we may unintentionally create resentment. They may feel trapped in a life that they didn't choose for themselves. Their dreams may slowly fade under the weight of expectations. And that resentment, quiet but real, can eat away at the bond we've built with them. They may never express it outright, but they will feel it. And in the long run, it can damage the very relationship we're trying so hard to protect. Caring for someone doesn't mean imposing your vision on them. It means standing by them, supporting them in their own decisions, and wishing for their happiness, whether or not their happiness looks like yours. There's a profound difference between helping someone live the life you want them to live and helping them live the life they've chosen for themselves. The latter, while perhaps more difficult, is ultimately more rewarding. Not only will it lead to greater fulfillment for both parties, but it will also foster a deeper, more authentic connection. It's also important to acknowledge that many of us, when trying to help, will face criticism. The world loves to judge, and people are quick to label you if you make any misstep. They will hide behind their morality, standing on their high horse, ready to point fingers at the choices of others. If you decide to live life on your own, if you reject the conventional path, you'll often find yourself under the microscope, with others eager to tell you where you've gone wrong. And let's not forget how harshly people can criticize those who are trying to help. If you make a mistake, even a small one, others will use it as fuel to condemn you, undermine your efforts, and make you feel inadequate. This is one of the most exhausting parts of caring for others. The best intentions can sometimes result in pain and misunderstanding. But despite the exhaustion and the feelings of helplessness when others criticize you for the choices you've made for someone else, we must understand that the way we live our lives isn't the way everyone wants to live. And that's okay. It's essential to accept that we can't control or force others into a mold that fits our vision. People must have the space to be themselves, even if it means they take a different route than we would have chosen for them. One of the most challenging situations in a family, for example, is the care of aging parents. It's easy to think that one person, the one who's the most capable, the most successful, the one who has the resources, should bear the entire responsibility. But that's not fair. It's not realistic. It's not sustainable. No matter how much you love your parents, no matter how much you want to take care of them, it cannot fall on one person's shoulders alone. Family is a collective responsibility. And if we truly want to respect each other, we must divide that responsibility, sharing both the burden and the love. We must work together as one. That's how a family should function. When we allow each person in the family to take ownership of their responsibilities, we create a space where everyone feels valued and respected. This, in turn, strengthens the family bond and fosters an atmosphere of mutual respect. This is the ideal we should strive for. It's not about perfection. It's about understanding, cooperation, and love. And when we create that environment, we allow each individual to thrive, to grow, and to be who they truly are. Family, at its core, should be a place of shelter, love, and mutual respect. However, far too often, we see family members disregarded, even disrespected. We see relationships that are strained, communication that is broken, and bonds that are frayed. Why does this happen? Why is it that the very people we should be able to rely on, the ones who should understand us the most, are often the ones who disrespect us the most? There are many reasons, but three stand out. First, parental favoritism often creates division among siblings. When one child is favored over others, resentment festers. Second, too much help, unappreciated help, can also lead to feelings of inadequacy. People want to feel competent, not dependent. And finally, there's the issue of the way we communicate. Are we listening to each other? Are we respecting each other's boundaries and desires? Or are we so caught up in our ideas of what's best that we fail to hear the other person's needs? As J.E., the psychologist, once said, "The deepest nature of a human being is the desire to be recognized by others. We want to feel seen, understood, and valued." Respect is not just an internal need. It is a fundamental part of human interaction. When we feel disrespected, whether by a family member or anyone else, it can be devastating. The lack of respect causes wounds that are hard to heal, wounds that can affect the entire family dynamic. From a societal perspective, relationships with outsiders are often transactional, based on mutual benefit, and thus fragile. But family, true family, is supposed to be a lifelong bond. It's supposed to be where we feel safe, loved, and respected. Unfortunately, not everyone experiences this. Some people find themselves isolated, overlooked, or even abused by the very people who should have their backs. It's a painful reality, but it's a reality that we need to face and understand. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. By understanding the root causes of disrespect and addressing them with compassion and empathy, we can begin to rebuild what was broken. It may take time, and it may take effort, but the first step is always acknowledging the issue and striving to change it. True family unity comes not from enforcing control, but from allowing each member to be themselves, to respect each other's choices, and to share the responsibility of caring for one another. When we do this, we create a family that is strong, supportive, and ultimately loving. That is the kind of family we all deserve. 1. Parental favoritism and disregard for you. Parental favoritism and the painful disregard for one child are wounds that, unfortunately, may never fully heal. They fester quietly, lurking in the background, casting long shadows over the lives of those affected. There is an old saying that perfectly encapsulates the relationship between parents and children. Parents are like horses, looking ahead towards the herd. This saying speaks to the idea that parents, like horses guiding their way through life, often focus on what is in front of them. Perhaps their aspirations, societal expectations, or even their desires. But in doing so, they may inadvertently ignore the needs and feelings of those following them, their children. The deep pain of feeling overlooked or less important than a sibling is something that many children experience, though it's often too subtle, too ingrained in the fabric of family dynamics, to be easily noticed or addressed. Parents are supposed to be the pillars of strength in a child's life. Fathers, in many cultures, are the unshakable mountains that children lean on for guidance and support. Mothers, the nurturing rivers that flow with understanding, forgiveness, and comfort, accepting their children's flaws and mistakes. It's in these early years that children learn what it means to trust, to believe in the unconditional love of their parents, and to find security in their presence. We grow up thinking that our parents are perfect, that their decisions are always made with our best interests in mind. Yet, as children mature, they begin to see things through a different lens. They start to notice the cracks in the pedestal they once placed their parents on. These cracks, these imperfections, are often hard to accept, especially when they reveal the cold truth. Parental favoritism exists, and it is deeply hurtful. The sting of favoritism is particularly sharp in large families, where parents, stretched thin with responsibilities and often dealing with their pressures, may unknowingly, or sometimes knowingly, focus their energy and attention on one or more children while neglecting others. This can manifest in many ways, whether through blatant neglect, unequal distribution of responsibilities, or overt favoritism toward one child, often due to gender, personality, or other arbitrary reasons. In families that follow patriarchal traditions, where old customs still hold sway, girls are often pushed to the margins. They are expected to endure hardship with grace and silence, their needs often dismissed or overlooked in favor of their brothers, who are seen as the heirs or more deserving of attention and resources. I recently came across a heart-wrenching story shared by a netizen online that perfectly illustrates this painful reality. The woman, the eldest daughter, recalled her experience growing up in a family where she was expected to contribute to the family business, a small shop owned by her parents. From a young age, she was tasked with working long hours in the shop, sometimes even alone during the freezing winter months. Her hands and feet would crack and bleed from the cold, but her parents remained completely oblivious to her suffering. It was as though her pain didn't matter, as though she was expected to just endure it. Despite her hardships, she was never given any comfort or acknowledgement for her efforts. Things only became worse when her younger brother, who was just a few years her junior, was old enough to help out in the shop. Immediately, her parents installed a heater to keep him warm, something they had never thought to do for her, despite her having worked in the same conditions year after year. This was not a mere act of kindness toward her brother. It was a glaring signal that her suffering had never been valued. She had suggested many times over the years that they install a water purifier in the shop, a simple upgrade that would have made their work easier, but each time, her suggestion was met with indifference or outright rejection. Yet, when her brother mentioned it, the next thing she knew, an air conditioner was installed in the shop, as though her brother's comfort mattered more than hers. But the most crushing experience of all came when she fell ill. She started to suffer from intense stomach pains, sharp, stabbing pains that made it difficult to focus or function. But instead of seeking medical help or offering comfort, her parents told her to simply endure it, to toughen up because it would pass. What they failed to realize was that her condition was not something she could just ignore. It was gallstones and acid reflux, issues that required immediate attention. It wasn't until she could no longer bear the pain that she finally went to the hospital and received treatment. The delay in addressing her health, and the lack of concern, only served to deepen the emotional wound she was carrying. It was at that moment that she realized just how little she meant to her parents, that her well-being had never truly mattered to them. As she grew older, she hoped that things would change. She thought that perhaps with time, her parents would recognize the sacrifices she had made and the pain she had endured. But even as an adult, when she began her own family, the favoritism persisted. It was as if she was still invisible to them, only called upon when they needed something. When her mother fell ill, it was her, the eldest daughter, who was expected to cook, clean, and manage the family business. Her brother, on the other hand, remained untouched by the weight of responsibility. He spent his time playing games, never once stepping up to share in the work or offer support. This imbalance was deeply hurtful, but the most painful part was that her daughter, her child, was not shown the love and affection that grandparents typically shower on their grandchildren. Her daughter was ignored, overlooked, and dismissed, an invisible presence in her grandparents' eyes. This story is not unique. It reflects a harsh truth that many children of large families face, especially daughters in patriarchal households. Parental favoritism, whether it's due to gender, personality, or simple neglect, has a lasting impact on a child's self-esteem, sense of worth, and ability to trust. The emotional scars left by favoritism are often more damaging than physical wounds because they touch the very core of a person's sense of identity. When parents show favoritism, when they treat one child with love and care while disregarding another, it sends a message that one person is more important, more deserving, than the other. It is a painful message to receive, and it can shape how we view ourselves and the relationships we form with others. The tragedy of parental favoritism is that it often goes unacknowledged by the parents themselves. They may not even realize the harm they are causing. To them, it may seem like simply a matter of convenience, of doing what is easiest. But to the child who is left behind, who is ignored, the pain is all-consuming. It is a wound that never fully heals, a gap that continues to widen over time. And though the child may grow older, they may never be able to forget the feeling of being unloved, unimportant, and invisible. It's a bitter truth, but one that too many children have to face. Sometimes, the ones who should love us the most are the ones who hurt us the deepest. 2. Not being able to depend on your family leads to disappointment. Not being able to depend on your family is one of the most heartbreaking experiences a person can go through. It's not just about the lack of material support. It's about the erosion of trust, love, and connection. There's an old saying that goes, even in the remote mountains, there are people who have family. But in the city, no one asks after you. It's a saying that resonates deeply, for in today's world, it feels like the more we advance in life, the more we lose sight of those who matter most. The ones who should have our backs, the ones we expect to lean on when times get tough. In truth, if you find yourself in a position where you can't rely on your own family, it's a cruel reality, one that often stems from a painful truth. You haven't been able to provide what they need, emotionally or materially. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. If you're unable to offer them help when they need it, whether it's money, advice, or simply your presence, it becomes so easy for the bond between you and your family to wither away. And honestly, you can't blame them for feeling distant or cold. Human nature is complex, but it's undeniable that people tend to gravitate towards those who can offer them something in return. This isn't about selfishness, it's about survival, both emotional and physical. When you're unable to give anything back, whether it's a supportive word or the resources they need, it's only a matter of time before that distance becomes irreparable. When you're poor, there's an invisible wall that rises between you and those who once cared for you. The disappointment begins subtly, like a slow fade, but it becomes overwhelming over time. When your parents ask for your help, and you can only offer excuses, their frustration builds. When they reach out for money, and you have none to give, the hurt is palpable. Even when they simply want your emotional support, all you have to offer is more complaints and negativity. It reinforces the idea that you're not someone they can count on anymore. That's when the loneliness creeps in, and it cuts deeper than any financial loss. And let's not forget the worst part. When you are poor due to circumstances beyond your control, like illness, there's still this sense of judgment that others place on you. People look at you and, instead of offering empathy, they judge you, they pity you, and they distance themselves further. That's the cruelest aspect of poverty. It not only takes away your financial security, but also your dignity in the eyes of others. It's as though people see you as weak or incapable, unworthy of respect, simply because of your circumstances. Friedrich Schiller once said, "Those who do not respect their value cannot respect the value of others." And this is where the true pain lies. When you are poor and feel as though you have nothing to offer, you can lose sight of your worth. It becomes a vicious cycle. To regain respect, both from yourself and others, you must first learn to maintain your dignity, no matter how challenging your situation may be. You must learn to value yourself, even in the toughest of times, because only when you respect yourself will others follow suit. As difficult as it may seem, when you embody a sense of self-worth and strive to elevate your circumstances, you'll naturally attract the kind of people who appreciate you for who you truly are. It's also important to remember that value isn't just about money. It's about the energy you bring, the kindness you offer, and the way you treat others. When you raise your value, when you invest in yourself, whether through education, work, or self-care, people will begin to notice. Your family will come around, not because of what you can give them materially, but because they see a person who's grown, who's striving for more, who's no longer the version of themselves stuck in a rut. Then, and only then, will the balance of give and take begin to restore itself. You'll find yourself not only earning the respect of others, but also being there for those you love, in ways you never imagined possible. As we wrap up today's discussion, I want to take a moment to reflect on everything we've explored. We've talked about the emotional toll of not being able to depend on your family, the impact of poverty on relationships, and how crucial it is to maintain your self-respect and dignity, even when life feels overwhelming. But most importantly, we've learned that our value isn't determined by our circumstances. It's how we carry ourselves, how we rise above challenges, and how we invest in ourselves that truly defines who we are. So, what have you learned from this conversation so far? Is there one key takeaway that stood out to you, one lesson that you feel will make a difference in your life? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please leave a comment below and share one thing you've learned today and how you plan to apply it in your own life. If you like this video, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more insightful content. Your support means the world to us, and we can't wait to see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.